Nigerian women the most undesirable women in the world? Well, let's find out. Hi, my name is Malfi, and this is every NG, and we'll be discussing about Nigerian women and Nigerian men. So, with our Nigerian men going out and marrying other women, it begs the question if Nigerian women are still desired. We have Moses Bliss, who's married to a Ghanaian, Tim Godfrey, who's married to a beautiful American, Theophilus Sunday, who's also married to someone else that isn't Nigerian. I think she's Jamaican. And we have many more. Most times when we have our Nigerian men, especially in diaspora, they do not go for Nigerian women. Although Nigerian women post themselves as the prize, our data and our statistics prove otherwise. We find that more cases than not, Nigerian men, or in general, African men, are the ones that marry outside their community the most. White men tend to go for white women, Indian men go for Indian women, and all sorts. But when it comes to black men, they go for other women, and more so Nigerian men. Because even though they will go for black women, they will pick any other black woman before their Nigerian sisters. So, what really is the problem? Are Nigerian women becoming undesirable? And if they are, why? What's the problem? Let's discuss. Nigeria is a patriarchal society and still held as such, with three major religions like Christianity, Islam, and traditional religion. They all come together to uphold that the men are the head of the households and the women should be submissive and somewhat docile and accepting of a lot of things. And Nigerian women still uphold these standards to a degree. Although feminism is taking its own spin on us, and a lot of women are trying to be their own bosses or also demand equal rights in the house, it's still somewhat of a patriarchal society, especially when it comes to money. Now, another reason why this may be the case where Nigerian women are undesirable, especially from the online sphere, is that a lot of men are accusing Nigerian women of being very materialistic and transactional in their relationships. We have people like Edwina Daniels, who's married to Ned Nwoko, and even Ivy, who is dating P Square brother. We have that narrative that is being fed to younger girls that they should chase money over love. And so every relationship comes up being transactional. We have a lot of the women going on social media like TikToks, Instagram, Twitter, and saying, if this man was not going to give me this money, I'm going to get a new boyfriend. If you can't pay my bills, you can't pay for my hair, my nails, and every other thing, then you're not worth dating. So if every relationship is transactional, it makes sense why men that do not have the means to accommodate this kind of luxuries want to opt for more understanding women, like the women out of the countries, or just women in different races. Now, the real question here is it is not just Nigeria that is a patriarchal society. We all know that Africa as a whole is somewhat of a patriarchal society. Whether it's Ghana or it's Kenya or it's any other African country, we still have that patriarchal society amongst all of us. So how come Nigerian women are bearing the brunt of the burden? Because I do find that South African men still want South African women. But our Nigerian men, immediately they step foot on South African soil, all of a sudden, South African women are the prize. In fact, anybody can be the prize to a Nigerian man that isn't a Nigerian woman. And if the society is patriarchal all round in our continent, then how come Nigerian women are the ones being vilified? Let's take, for example, another story. We have many stories on cases of when black men are being either murdered by their partners who are white women, or they are vilified and accused of rape or some sort of crime and held in prison. So there should be a narrative that there should be a fear of white women, but somehow that is not the case. If we have a situation where the Nigerian women are seen materialistic, and that's the reason why they are not viable interests, then it should still be the same for white women. Because if white women are on a number of occasions seen on the news as women that can vilify black men, then there should be somewhat of like a fear getting with those women. But that is not the case. They're still the desired price. Some people attribute this to mental slavery because we still having some sort of remnants of the colonialism that took place in our country. Or maybe it's some sort of self-hate. I mean, after all, we portray the devil as a black person and God and the angels and Jesus Christ as white people. So it makes sense why white people would be seen as the prize. But again, another data shows that it is not just that these men are picking white women, they are also picking African women, but just not specifically Nigerian women. Let's take another data analysis and think and talk about the Nigerian gospel artists. Nigerian gospel is promoted primarily by Nigerian women. They are the ones that buy the CDs. They are the ones that play their music on Apple Music or whatever streaming network. And there still be ones that go for their concerts. Yet, when they are picking their spouses, they do not pick Nigerian women. They do not pick the people that come for these single conferences and have to be ministered to by these Nigerian gospel artists, like Moses Bliss or for the Sunday or Tim Godfrey or any of them all. So we really have to ask ourselves, is there a self-hate amongst Nigerians? Do we actually have this narrative where we see ourselves as less? And that's why we are marrying outside our communities. However, this is not the same case for Nigerian women. Nigerian women seem to still vie Nigerian men as the number one men for mating. When they go outside the countries to Canada, to UK on their Japa conquest, they still want to end up with a Nigerian man. So a lot of times these women end up being on the other receiving end and staying single because the men that they meet in diaspora are not ready to date them or marry them. And so they have to come home. And they face another problem when coming back to the country to pick a man in Nigeria because these men in Nigeria, they will most likely exploit these women's income. So that means if she comes back to Nigeria, she picks a man from Nigeria and goes abroad, she's also risking a situation where she's being exploited, a situation where this man is only marrying her for papers. But this is not the case for Nigerian men. They can come back to the countries, come back to the country, most cases than not, and still marry someone and take them abroad and things should be happening and going swiftly. So it begs the question, what really is the problem? Have Nigerian women now fallen far from the ladder and are we now undesirable? Is this a real thing that we are the least attractive of the bunch? Are South African women actually more attractive than us? Or are Ghanaian women more attractive than Nigerian women? Or are other women from other races, whether Asians or whites, are they more attractive than African or more specifically Nigerian women? Let's know your thoughts right there in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed this episode of discussing of Nigerian women's fall from grace to grass, definitely give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel to have more invigorating conversations. Bye for now.